Of course, I'm sure you guys would have had a turbulent, ride itself. But now also, do you really feel that the fastest and the easiest way to make money is entrepreneurship?
So we sat down and said that we will educate our consumers, and we chose the most difficult route of going online. And we said we will reach out to the consumers where entire India is on a platter. Most of the entrepreneurs fail in the first two, three things only because they don't see the requirement in the market. One thing which most entrepreneurs misses, they feel that starting a D2C brand, every investor will be at your doorstep and you will get the funding and you will scale the brand then. That's a very big mistake. So whenever I used to go to investor, I used to say कि आपके पास तो पैसा ही नहीं है, आप बंद कर दो, मत करो, you have आपकी बहुत कंफर्टेबल लाइफ है, आप जो पहले कर रहे थे ये नहीं चलेगा, बंद कर दो. So we were discouraged by everybody. Don't chase investors. Don't celebrate fundings. So funding is just a byproduct, and I see in India that funding gets celebrated.
My guest for today's episode is Amar. He's one of the co-founder of Neeman's. I'm very, very delighted to have him. I at least own 8 to 10 pair of Neeman's. So would love to understand. So welcome, Amar to Game Room. Would love to understand your journey in terms of, how have you guys come so far?
Thank you, Swati. Thanks for having me here. In fact, I'm really super excited to talk to you about our journey. So if you say about journey, we have to go back to a little further in terms of not exactly when we started the brand, but something about us that I think will set the context. So I'll give you a little bit about me. I've done my masters. I've done my masters in business administration. We are first-time entrepreneurs. My father was a banker for good 35 years, and we used to keep on traveling to different cities because banking jobs are transferable jobs in government sector. And during those days, when we used to travel different cities, there was always a reason to discuss within the family that why is that we are not sticking to one place, why is that we are not there in one place. And he always used to say that we are service class, we are probably need to be moving to different cities, and we are not businessmen or we are not entrepreneurs, so we don't have that liberty. And coming from a middle class family, it's like you need to look at in terms of what is your financial requirements, and there was growth in every transfer, so we're happy. So that is the time when actually the entrepreneurship thing got my attention, is that if you are an entrepreneur, you at least will not have financial issues, you will be stable. So during my early childhood days in 87, maybe 17, 18, is like something I was very excited. Somebody was talking about entrepreneurship. Since my father, all his life, he had a lot of struggle and moving to different cities, growing up the government ladder, and then suddenly I said that I will not do that, something which what he has done. And at least I will be stationed in one city and I will try to grow something. So post my education, I started working with a company in terms of learning more about education industry. So I started a company at the age of 24, 25, wherein I started an overseas education company. And from 2007 to 2017, I ran that company very, very successfully, wherein we used to recruit students for foreign institutions. Because during that era where everybody was talking about foreign education, everybody was saying that you should study abroad, I chose to create my own company, and I created that business. And this is my first stint as entrepreneur. And then eventually, after being a first-time entrepreneur from all my 6, 7, 8 years, I stuck to being in one city, traveling across the world. A little bit of boredom stuck, wherein you get into your mid-30s saying that something has not got created still which I wanted. Something that midlife crisis where you say that, oh, I have not yet created something very, very large yet. I am financially stable, but always that thing was there, I have to create something which I think is remembered for generations together. So I and Taran, we are both brothers, and Taran went to US for his higher education, and post his education, even he was also of the idea that we should start something which really creates legacy. But we had no idea, we had nothing in terms of going in. Any new business idea used to come in, used to say that, ki ye karte hain. And we just used to hover around, and maybe we used to say, ki नहीं होगा छोड़ दें, we will get stuck because we are stuck in our family duties or business, so engrossed with what we are doing. So we said नहीं होगा छोड़ दो. And during one of our business trips, or you can say we used to, since he was in US and I was in India, and we used to go to a lot of family trips. So we were on a family holiday in Spain, and normally when you travel to Europe, you travel light. And Taran, who's actually a shoe fanatic, he used to buy shoes every month. Somebody who goes out for shopping, if he's going out with his wife for shopping or going out for a movie as well, if he's in a mall, he used to buy a pair of sneakers. So we used to feel that somehow like sneakers, and eventually why is he buying it? Because he doesn't have any other option. Okay, okay, let's buy it. So we just used to ignore that piece. So in Europe, when we actually missed train few times, so we just had this discussion: is why do you need so many pairs of shoes? Why do you have around 7 to 8 pairs of shoes? He said that one is for jogging, one is for running, one is for a party, one is for formal, just in case I have any meeting. So in different occasions, I can wear different shoes. So one suitcase of shoes, in fact, really puzzled us, saying that why don't we have one pair which takes us right from the start of the day to the end of the day? So that, I think, that is the time where the idea spun about, and that is when we started understanding why can't we do something which can create one shoe which takes us for every activity. And that was, I think, the idea which we were looking at. And this came up in 2016. Then we said to ourselves that, okay, this is an idea, let's do one thing. Because since we were researching a lot of businesses, a lot of brands, so we said that why don't we do this as a hobby? So we said that you look at Asia, I look at India, let's travel to all the footwear hubs, let's travel to all the manufacturing units within the country and understand this industry from ground up. So we didn't want any consultants to tell us this is how the shoe is made. And the only advantage with us that we were consumers. We were somebody who understands shoe as a consumer only. So how about understanding as a business? How about understanding how the shoe is actually made? And we don't be dependent to any consultants. So in 2017, we did all the research phase, and he traveled across in China, traveled in Korea, traveled in Europe. I traveled in India in all the manufacturing hubs. And cut to after 6 to 7 months, we came back together again and we spoke. And both of us had only one feedback, saying that the shoe industry in itself uses plastic, uses animal skin, leather, and emits a lot of carbon dioxide within the environment by the use of water. And also there's a lot of synthetics which is being used in mass producing. And this is something, as a fast fashion, every brand does it. So we told to ourselves that we are today's entrepreneurs and we are consumers. And if you really want to become an entrepreneur, now since Taran was working in US and he was working for a pharma giant, that if you really want to become an entrepreneur, we should not do something which harms the environment, and we should not do which everybody is doing it. There is no differentiation, there is no product differentiation, there is nothing glorifying in terms of what we are trying to do. So we looked around in terms of, is anybody doing in natural space? We had very limited understanding of natural space. We came back and went to different parts of, again, China and India, and said nobody spoke about using natural materials. So during that time, we were looking at merino wool, because we were active users of merino wool. And merino wool is something which comes from, it's actually not like a traditional wool. Now traditional wool you associate with sweaters, but merino wool is the softest version of the wool. So it has its own properties, like it's antibacterial, odor resistant, and it can be worn if it is it made in a shoe. It can be worn without socks as well. But when I looked around, nobody in India had done it. In China, a few companies had done it. So we said that this is something we have been wearing it, but it is an expensive material. And we went around and tried understanding about this, and we said that we will do it. So we stayed for a couple of months in China and probably made our first prototype in 2017 and got that prototype. And 2018 is eventually when we launched this brand. And when we launched it, we said that we will do it in India. And we wanted to always create something in our motherland in terms of doing something good for the environment, doing something good for the society. We said that we will do it in India rather than doing it in the country where already there's a lot of awareness about sustainability, but we said we will create that market in India. And that is how Neeman's was born in 2018. So we started this brand in 2018.
So Neeman's is a very, very different name. So how did you come up with, this name itself?
So I and Taruna brothers. So both of us, when I said we wanted to do something which will create legacy, so we dedicated the name to our parents' names. So Neeman's is a combination of our parents' names, Neelam and Manjeet. So that is how the name was born. So we said that if we do something, it should be a tribute in terms, or that is say that is there for generations together. So that's how the name was born.
Oh wow, very very it's quite touching
Yeah,
itself.
yeah, yeah.
So एक कंज्यूमर बिजनेस के फाउंडर को बहुत ही रेगुलर बेसिस पे पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव फीडबैक्स मिलते रहते हैं. मतलब दिस इज आई थिंक द बिगेस्ट प्रो एंड कॉन ऑफ रनिंग अ कंज्यूमर बिजनेस. सो व्हाट in your day to day life comes to you which makes you feel that the journey is purposeful, the journey is satisfying from a consumer standpoint?
See, again, when we started this journey, since not being from footwear space, that was a fairly big advantage. One, because we understood as a consumer. And both of us had different mindsets about being a consumer. Taran was more of a shoe fanatic, more about style, and more about comfort. I would say that more grounded, more affordable is something we should look at. So why back then when we launched our first pair of shoe, first prototype, rather than saying first pair of shoes, first prototype, 100, 200 pairs, 300 pairs. We were there for months together in China. And while we brought that prototypes to India, we gave it to all shoe fanatics, all people of different segments, and took their feedback, saying that, ki, what do you like in the shoe? What you don't like in the shoe? How is it? Will you buy it? Forget about the price point. What is something which you, not only us, it's like people of different ages, taking their feedback right from a 15-year-old to a 80, 70-year-old. So we took all those feedbacks and incorporated that as a consumer. So that means that is the real consumer data. Somebody, I just didn't give it to my relatives. I gave it to my friends' friends. Reason is because I should get real feedback. So अगर हम relatives को देंगे, चाचा मामा किसी को दो कि दो अरे यार बिजनेस स्टार्ट कर रहा है, हाँ अच्छा है बेटा अच्छा है, लेकिन हमारे लिए था कि हमें रियल फीडबैक चाहिए. तो आई कॉन्टेक्टेड माई फ्रेंड्स, माई कॉलेज मेट्स, माई प्रोफेसर्स. I gave them the product and said that give me the feedback. I didn't tell that I'm going to launch a brand. I said that आपको इस जूते में क्या अच्छा लगा क्या अच्छा नहीं लगा. तो हमने वो सारा कुछ किया in the first, I think, 12 months of learning this industry from ground up in terms of how is that the shoe is actually made and what gives utmost comfort. And back then when we were launching in 2018, the consumer feedback was extremely important. I don't know whether you have researched about us that or not. We launched in a flooded market where the likes of Adidas, Nike, Puma, Skechers, all these Western giants were there within the Indian market, and they were ruling the entire market. And we also launched at the similar price point. That means our first shoe was launched at 6,000 rupees. And we were being unbranded footwear, we were competing with the Western giants, saying that this is something which is not branded but still selling at 6-7 grand. So we did that, and we wanted to understand that we are giving the best of materials. Now merino wool is something which is an expensive fabric. So how can we give the consumer the best of the fabric? Maybe we might be going after the 1% or 2% of the India, but we would give them the best of product. So in spite of being highly priced, we got a lot of traction during that period. So as a consumer, what we used to do is, while learning about this industry, how is footwear sold in India? Footwear is sold in India is wherein you go to shops, you go to stores, and you buy it. And you are at the liberty of that sales executive saying that कि कौन सा जूता अच्छा है. So sir ये अच्छा है आप ले लीजिए. And I myself has sat for hours together, weeks together in all the stores in different parts of India. And why are they buying it? Because it is expensive. The sales executive has demonstrated. So it's more about brand value, and there is little being told about the product. So we sat down and said that we will educate our consumers, and we chose the most difficult route of going online. And we said we will reach out to the consumers where entire India is on a platter. So in fact, we became the first footwear brand or startup in India to start a D2C brand and reach out to consumers across India rather than going retail, maybe opening one store, shop, 2 shops, 3 shops, 4 shops. That kitna time lagega? How many products will be able to sell, and how much time we will get involved? We are creating a brand. We are not creating the business first. We first need to create a brand. We need to do a lot of awareness. So that's something in terms of how the consumers, we started doing a research, spoke to hundreds of customers, and you need to be connected to your customers. In fact, the first 100 orders we have personally delivered to the customers. We started this since we are based out of Hyderabad. We went in, we drove to the consumer, delivered that particular product, and took their feedback. They wore it, we shot it, and we said that we will want to have. And they were truly honored that entrepreneurs today do not hesitate to come back and deliver the product in the world of e-commerce, where you have delivery executives, but founders are okay going to the home, because these are 100 unique customers. This gives you the utmost satisfaction. So that was very, very satisfying for us to reach out to all the 100 folks who were our first customers in person.
So I think one thing which is coming out from the conversation is that अगर आपको एक D2C brand चालू करना है तो knowing your customer is very important. You know, being on ground as a founder is, you know, very, very, important. I think that has been the beginning of, your journey as well. But now that if you look back, if you have to lay down a playbook for anyone who wants to start a D2C, brand, so what are those 5 or 6 basics that, should be part of that playbook?
See, again, when somebody is taking a D2C route, so the one thing is very extremely important, that you need to be very, very confident about your product. And why are you starting that product? Why are you starting that brand? And what is the product? And what problem is it solving? Most of the entrepreneurs fail in the first 2-3 things only, because they don't see the requirement in the market. They say that this product is something which is close to my heart, let's start it. So they have to go as deep as possible in researching about the product. And second, getting this product in the flooded category or not, the category is not flooded. What problem is it solving in terms of whether if there is an additional brand? So you should be able to define that. Third, how would you scale that piece? So you might get you 100 orders, 1,000 orders, 10,000 orders. You don't need to know how will you get 1 lakh orders, or maybe how would you serve lakhs and lakhs of customers. You need to just know that 1,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 orders I will get to by so and so strategy. So your understanding of that starting as a brand is fairly clear, that this is how I will sell the product. And one thing which most entrepreneurs miss is they feel that starting a D2C brand, every investor will be at your doorstep and you will get the funding and you will scale the brand then. That's a very big mistake. I believe that if anybody is starting out young, start a bootstrap brand. Create enough traction about it. Create prototypes and maybe give it to your close people to understand what exactly the product is all about, if it is consumer this thing. Similarly, it's important that you get to a stage where you say that I now need marketing dollars. I now need money to scale further. I have created a market and I feel that I'm ready to kick off. Then raise capital. Just don't raise capital if you're saying that yes, it's available, or I'm having a glorifying degree, or I have an access of investors. No, I would recommend to build traction and then get to the market.
So वो जो 2 years when you were looking for investors, कोई नियर डेथ सिचुएशन आया था कि अब मतलब अगर 3 महीना में इन्वेस्टर्स नहीं मिलेंगे तो ये तो बंद ही करना पड़ेगा, पैसे बचे नहीं है बैंक अकाउंट में?
हर महीने हमारे पास ऐसा था कि हम लोग सोचते थे कि हम लोग हर महीने मेहनत करनी है, जुगाड़ करना है, क्योंकि हमारे खुद के पैसे लगे थे. और एंटरप्रेन्योर के लाइफ में होता था कि अब जब हम लोग सब्सटैंशियल वेल्थ बना ली है तो हम लोग ऐसा तो नहीं है कि करोड़ों रुपए लगा दें. बट हमारे पास वी वर वर्किंग विद 20 people and we had to pay salaries, we have to pay the invoices what we do use for marketing, like the likes of Facebook or Google or Instagram, and we had to ensure that we pay that. So we always had just 1 month of runway, and every time the time was clicking कि अगर ये ख़त्म हो जाए तो अगले दिन ऐड नहीं कर पाएंगे, अगले दिन सैलरी, अगले महीने सैलरी नहीं दे पाएंगे, तो बेटर है रात की बस पकड़ते हैं या ट्रेन पकड़ते हैं, इन्वेस्टर को पिचिंग कर देते हैं. वी यूज्ड टू बी इन दैट हंकी डोरी कि यार वो 1 महीने में पैसे दे देगा, तो एंड कुछ ना कुछ करके जुगाड़ कर लेंगे. तो एवरी टाइम व्हेन वी यूज्ड टू गो टू द इन्वेस्टर इट वाज ऑलवेज अ नियर डेथ सिचुएशन, बिकॉज वी आर इन्वेस्टिंग इन आवर ओन मनी. एंड आप कितना लगाओगे? देयर वाज अ पॉइंट कि हम लोग वी यूज्ड टू टेल हिम कि आज इतने लग चुके हैं कंपनी में, आवर ओन मनी, इसलिए कि कर क्या रहे हो यार, आप प्रॉफिटेबल नहीं है तो बंद कर दो. एंड ब्रांड बनाना इतना आसान नहीं होता. और कई लोग हमें पूछते थे फ्रेंड्स अच्छा तो ऑनलाइन बेच रहा है, तेरी दुकान कहाँ पर है? तो हम लोग पूछते थे हमारी दुकान नहीं, मैं ऑनलाइन फेसबुक में करता हूँ, एड्स करता हूँ, वहाँ से कस्टमर्स लेकर आता हूँ. Or back during those days, this WhatsApp community was extremely loyal, where WhatsApp sellers or the Facebook sellers, there used to be groups where sellers used to get. So everybody used to think in our own fraternity, I'm not talking about the startup ecosystem, at least our friend circles or something, that कि online बेचने वाले मतलब WhatsApp sellers. They never knew कि what brand we are creating. So every month we had to dug in कि आज पानी निकालना है तो घर चलेगा. तो नहीं तो नेक्स्ट महीने फिर कोई ना कोई एफडी तोड़नी पड़ेगी, कोई ना कोई सेविंग से पैसा निकालना पड़ेगा, किसी को पूछना पड़ेगा कि आई विल रिपे यू एंड और मे बी कॉन्टैक्ट बैंक. एंड बैंक भी दिक्कत ये थी कि बैंक्स नेवर यूज्ड टू सपोर्ट कंपनीज हु आर अर्ली, एंड दैट मीन्स मिनिमम 3 years की बैलेंस शीट होनी चाहिए, 3 years की रनवे होनी चाहिए, या 3 प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी होनी चाहिए. And since we're trying to create, so that was the most difficult part. So I cannot say that I had 5 months of money or 3 months of money. I said every month I had to pay salary, so I have to be extremely watchful of what I'm spending, and I somehow have to get those products, sell those products, and I have to pay my salaries, pay my bills and all the stuff. So whenever I used to go to investor, he used to say कि आपके पास तो पैसा ही नहीं है, आप बंद कर दो. And they used to look for confidence in us in terms of how we were taking. I said कि कर लेंगे, जुगाड़ कर लेंगे, हम लोग कुछ ना कुछ कर लेंगे, मत करो, you have, आपकी बहुत कंफर्टेबल लाइफ है, आप जो पहले कर रहे थे ये नहीं चलेगा, बंद कर दो. तो we were discouraged by everybody, but finally we got support from Aniket Ventures. A bunch of angels trusted in us, and they said कि let's do it, because in every entrepreneur journey, the first 2-3 years, it is the entrepreneur which actually brings that trust. So we met them 6 months back also, 8 months back also, and they have seen that we have told that we will reach this milestone, we will do this, we'll have so many sales, or we will acquire so many customers. So we did what we told. So ultimately that got faith, and we got our first check.
So आपकी 0 to 1 has already happened, and you have combated the challenges of 0 to 1. But अभी आपके बिजनेस के कौन से बुलेट्स आते हैं ऑन यू?
बुलेट्स तो हर हफ्ते हर महीने कुछ ना कुछ नए चलते रहते हैं. देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ स्टोरी अराउंड how we got our first check, I told you, but there's also a story around what happened after the first check. So we got our first check in January 2020, fairly large amount of close to $1 million, and we were very very excited, super excited in terms of कि अब हम सब कुछ बदल देंगे, आ जाओ आप, कोई और ब्रांड है, हम लोग कुछ नया कर दिखाएंगे. एंड देन सडनली कोविड स्टक, द कंट्री केम टू स्टैंड स्टिल, एंड back then we were making all our products or assembling all our products by getting materials from South Korea and Australia and assembling it finally in China. And since March and April 2020 everything was stuck. We also had our first celebrity we have signed in March 20, and we shot with one of the rising stand-up comedians, Veer Das, during that time. And since we were known for making intriguing content, we said that we chose somebody who understands sustainability. So we shot our first celebrity video, and the country was into standstill. And suddenly, it like everything got crashing, saying कि कैसे होगा, हमने पैसा उठा लिया है, हमने परचेज ऑर्डर्स भी दे दिए हैं, हमने काफ़ी कुछ कर लिया है, एंड मार्केटिंग्स भी ऑन रोल है, और अब हम कैसे करेंगे. तो वी वेंट आउट एंड स्पोक इन द मार्केट कि यार ई कॉमर्स तो ख़त्म हो गया, नोबडी, द बिजनेस विल नॉट बी द सेम इन इंडिया, रिटेल तो अब खुलेगा ही नहीं. तो हमें काफ़ी बार हमने अपने वेल विशर से बात की, इकोसिस्टम में D2C फाउंडर से बात की, हर किसी से बात की, सब ने एक ही बात बोला, प्रिजर्व कैपिटल. मैंने उठाया, अभी ये तो प्रिजर्व करने, सारा कैसे प्रिजर्व करेंगे, अब तो परचेज ऑर्डर्स दे दिए हैं, अब तो इन्वेंट्री आएगी. तो दैट वाज वेरी डिफिकल्ट. So somehow suddenly, I think God was kind. In 2020 April, the country opened up for at least e-commerce transactions. So we were happy कि country खुल चुकी है, अब तो we can do business. Though stores and entire market was not open, there was a lot of safety checks and all, but at least e-commerce was running operational. So in fact, none of our team members were interested to come. Everybody is saying that we have a family and we just cannot take risk. So I and Taran with my driver, we just used to pack all the products and dispatch 100, 200, 300, 400 products. During that time, it was something that the people were not buying it because they don't know what is going to happen. They also they have to preserve their salaries or preserve their savings. So कि जो 100, 200, 300 orders आ रहे हैं, तो from maybe almost you can say 800 to 1000 orders a day, we came back to 100, 200 orders से जो भी है हमें सर्व करना है. Team was not very confident, but हम करेंगे. तो the moment we started going to our warehouses and shipping those products, the team got confidence कि जब ये कर रहे हैं हम क्यों नहीं करें. Everybody came back. We were very, very lucky to have loyal team who trusted in us, and we started functioning and started focusing on building the brand further. Suddenly the China sentiment changed and everybody started saying कि made in China नहीं करना चाहिए because COVID का actual reason वही है, तो made in China ना हो. And Atmanirbhar Bharat was going around and we were making all our products in made in China, and how can we suddenly switch to made in India? We went back to our investors, they said कि अब made in India ही करो. कैसे करेंगे, अब मुश्किल होगा, मतलब कंट्री सारी बंद है. एंड हम लोग जब 2018 2019 में करना चाहते थे, हमने इंडिया में बात की थी, पर इंडिया में किसी ने बोला था कि नहीं हो पाएगा, ये नेचुरल में कोई नहीं करता, आप मत करिए, यहाँ हम लोग नहीं कर सकते, और आपके MOQs जो होंगे, मतलब जो आपकी मिनिमम ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी होगी वो काफ़ी कम होगी, बीइंग अ स्मॉल ब्रांड, तो नहीं कर पाएंगे. तो वी वर वेरी वेरी वरिड, बट वी टुक दैट एज अ चैलेंज एंड वी वेंट ऑन टू द फैक्ट्रीज, ऑल द फैक्ट्रीज हू सेड नो टू अस, एंड वी टोल्ड देम दैट कि आपके पास अभी बिजनेस और PO सारों के रिवाइज हो रहे थे, सारी बड़े बड़े बिजनेसेस अपने परचेज ऑर्डर्स और सारी ऑर्डर क्वांटिटीज़ रिवाइज कर रहे थे, तो सबके पास बिजनेस का क्रंच था. और हमने बोला कि ये हमने बनाया है प्रोटोटाइप और 2 साल में हमने ये किया है, और ये चाइना में नहीं, इंडिया में भी हो सकता है, आप इंडिया में हमें सपोर्ट करिए, और हम जो क्वांटिटीज़ आज बड़े ब्रांड्स करते हैं आपके साथ वो 1 साल में करेंगे. और उनके पास भी काम कम था, उन्हें देखा कि 2018 2019 में जब ये लोग आए थे तो तब तो कुछ खास इन्होंने किया नहीं था, तब ट्रस्ट नहीं था, लेकिन अब इन्होंने कुछ किया है. ऑलरेडी तकरीबन महीने के अराउंड 10-12 हज़ार कस्टमर बेच रहे हैं, तो ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी लगेगी. तो काफ़ी मैन्युफैक्चरर्स ने तब हम पे चांस लिया और हमने प्रोडक्ट्स बनाए, और विद इन 6 months वी चोज दैट ऑप्शन एंड वी मेड इट मेड इन इंडिया. सो फ्रॉम 2020, from March to 2020 September October, in that 6 months when the country was still not that opened, we went to factories, took all the safety checks, and we made it in India. Wow. And we said that okay, this is a time either you shut down your business saying that you don't have capital, you have capital and you're not able to do anything. If made in China sentiment is there, we anyhow want to make it made in India, and the country is moving towards that, so we said that we will make all our products in India. So eventually by 2020 everything was made in India, end of 2020. And while everybody was telling us कि कोविड है, बिजनेस स्लो डाउन होगा, हमने बोला कि नहीं, अब यहाँ से स्केल करेंगे. तो हमने 2020 में चूज़ किया कि कंटेंट को और बढ़ाएंगे, बिकॉज एवरीबडी इज इन हाउस एंड व्हाट आर दे डूइंग, दे आर हुक्ड अप टू देयर स्क्रीन्स, they are hooked up to their phones, they have nothing to do, either they are focusing on fitness, they are focusing on something. This is a time where people will be at its maximum on hooked up to the screen, so let's bombard them with ads, let's focus on building more content. And we became super aggressive in terms of reaching out via content, talking about us, creating talking points, creating short form videos, and reaching to as much audience as possible. And that was, I think, the rose of fame to us, where from 2020 to 2022 we eventually became fairly successful by being a D2C brand, and everybody knew about us because we chose the most difficult route, saying that कि कोविड टाइम में अगर OTT platforms को visibility मिल सकती है, if Netflix and everybody can grow because they are hooked up, why people will watch ads, so when the consumption comes back to normal, they will definitely buy us. That I think brought us the scale, and we eventually grew, I think 300% in just 1 year, from 20 to 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
जब आप लोग ने चालू किया था तो no one was really talking and thinking about Indian brands. अब तो काफ़ी सारे brands आ चुके हैं.
See now, shoe, in terms of cut to 2022 to 2024, when we grew, that time there was nobody online in terms of having speaking through content, talking about products, because shoe is more of a touch and feel experience. So when we did that, everybody has seen that we have got a kind of success. A lot of people started talking about us. In fact, the industry started growing. And in 2021, we chose again a very difficult route in terms of reaching out to consumers via celebrities. So we said that why don't we use celebrities and engage with celebrities in talking about us. So we started using hacks to get to celebrities because the country was still not opened up, and we started focusing on building content via celebrities. So that is the time I think we grew further. But to answer your question, the market has evolved fairly large. Like in why we were starting in 2018, the per capita shoe buying in India was fairly 1.4 or 1.5 per year, and in US it was 3.3, 3.4. That means that on average Indian buys 1.4 pairs of shoes every year, and in US it's 3.3, and now in 2024 it's close to 3 in India. In just 3-4 years the market has got evolved so large, and in US it is 6.2. So that means the consumption is increasing. People are trusting new age brands. People believe that there's a market here, and the market has grown exponentially over the last 4-5 years in footwear space.
तो ये जो new addition हुआ है, is it the Gen Z which is coming into the corporate world? Is that the addition which has, because of which the per capita shoe consumption has kind of gone up?
See, you're right. Gen Zs now look at sneakers. They say that as a commodity. They feel that sneakers is something which will be like a trendsetter. Because for men, it is like very little things to show off. It's either you wear a fancy belt or you wear a branded clothing or something like a footwear. So they feel the next generation has evolved, and they say that I have arrived, and for that I need trendier things. I need something which can really talk about my personality. And plus overall consumption towards fashion or everything, like the travel has increased, or you can say the online buying has increased, the content consumption has increased. The reason is that people now post COVID era want to try out new things. Before the COVID era, there was nobody talking about sustainability. So now they talk about organic, they talk about natural things, using natural resources, products made with natural materials. So every consumption methodology has changed post the COVID era. Plus the buying behavior of the consumer has changed, because earlier it was like we will preserve money, we will not spend it, we will save it for a rainy day. But aaj kya ho raha hai like I want to look good, feel good, I want to invest in experiences. So the post the COVID era, completely there's a shift in consumer patterns itself, that they want to try out new age things. They don't want to go to the legacy brands alone. They want to say, okay, let me try it out. So that behavior is completely, there's a shift in that. So that I think has increased worldwide.
But as a sustainable brand, do you get loyal customers because they believe that, look, I want to consume things which are environment friendly, or does that give you an advantage, at all, or it is more like your own deeper purpose that you would want to, build a sustainable brand?
See, they should be purposed by a brand, and the brand ethos for us is that we pick up only materials which are there within the environment, or something which is sustainable. And that's the purpose of the brand. That's something which we have defined it, and we will not use something which is made up of synthetics, plastic, or something which harms the environment. But while we are sustainable, we also need to be having some properties what we are going after. So we make our shoes super comfortable, that can take you right from the start of the day to the end of the day. So it's like one core proposition is that apart from sustainability, what is that your Neeman is going after? Neeman is going after sustainability plus comfort and style. That means you target all the three core propositions and go after the market. So is sustainability only getting you only getting the consumers? No, sustainability chalta hai, but at the end people should say that yes, I have these core properties and I feel I can wear it throughout my day. So we brought in comfort, that is a core proposition. Third is stylish, so that they can wear it with their outfit.
So, any last message that you would have for our audience? Anyone who wants to, so the audience would be either people who would want to start a D2C brand, or people who are looking to work in an early stage D2C brand. Any message that you would have for them?
See, one, I would say, for entrepreneurs, I think there is only one message, is that is, stick to your core and be consistent. Be consistent with the message you're going. Don't dilute it with the market. Don't chase investors. Don't celebrate fundings. So funding is just a byproduct, and I see in India that funding gets celebrated, but funding is the start of the journey of the brand. In any brand, even if it is a series A, B, C, D, E level, funding is just a byproduct, and that happens to scale. So it is not a celebration. It's in fact, what you need to look at is in terms of, now he's got funding and it has utmost responsibility to scale the brand further. So the core proposition for anybody is that they should focus on building the brand and building it consistently. Even if they're failing, they have to understand the root cause of that particular problem, understand that piece, and move forward and solve that particular problem. And for talent, I would say that for people who, anybody today in entrepreneurship, I see a lot of colleges now like MESA, Masters Union, are focusing on building colleges which focuses towards building entrepreneurs or working with startups. So everybody from 12th standard to their bachelor's or master's they complete, they should intern in a startup. If you really want to learn entrepreneurship, work for a startup. You will learn everything. You will come out flying. I don't say that don't work for corporates, but working in a startup is something, especially in an early stage startup where it is 0 to 1, you get to exposed to so many things, and that is altogether a different thing. And when I go to colleges, attend seminars, I tell them, come work for us, work as an intern, work with us and understand the day-to-day challenges. And that will train you to become a better entrepreneur. The entrepreneurship vibe has completely changed in India. Now entrepreneurship is getting celebrated post the Shark Tank era. That's something really enterprising, because back in the day when we used to travel around in 2018, 2019, people used to recognize us, they don't used to come to us. But now in 23, 24, after the Shark Tank era, people are celebrating entrepreneurs. Whenever I travel in a flight or go in a mall, if people recognize us, in fact, we also participate in a lot of marketing campaigns, and people recognize, they come to us, they talk to us saying that I really love what you guys do. I want to learn, how do I do it? So that is something which is being celebrated. So that is, I think everybody should look out to, is reach out to peers, talk to people from the industry space, what happens is, back then when we started, everybody wanted to keep the cards close to the chest. They said that कि ये बताएंगे तो कैसे होगा, जैसे हमारा इतना प्रॉफिट है हम बताएंगे तो दिक्कत हो जाएगी. But आज everybody is coming out openly and telling. So they are people to solve your problems. Reach out to them. Somebody who's been there, done that before. And once you start doing it, you will learn it much more faster. And don't hesitate in saying that कि I don't want to create something in 2 years. Give time. Everybody in current scenario wants to create fast. No, it will take time. It is something which you will bypass the challenges and you will eventually create that. Like a lot of people tell me, I've seen a lot of startup pitches, or even in Shark Tank, I've seen it. A lot of people say, I want to take it to an IPO. I said, why do you want to talk about an IPO? Every startup says, I want to do an IPO. Yes, that is a journey. But don't think about an IPO. Think about how do you get to your first crore, 5 crores, 10 crores, then maybe think about that piece. And ultimately what matters is that if you're driving in a two-wheeler in night at 10 o'clock, your headlight is on and you just see 100 meters, and that's all you need to see. See that 100 meters and keep moving forward. Trust the process and be consistent in terms of what you're doing. And that in fact is the key. So they always say in startup, the lone person standing or the last man standing or being a survivor is actually the key to success. Because stay around, it will be hustling and you will have a lot of challenges, but stick to your core. And ultimately you will reach your goal a year later or a year after, but that will not matter now. Because if you keep thinking about, I want to do this in 1 year, 2 years, then that is where you fail. So in India, that is getting evolved. Only thing which entrepreneurs should not see that I want to create a unicorn in 5 years or 3 years. There are cases which got created in 5-6 years, but that doesn't mean everybody can do that. It takes time. An average unicorn gets created in 8 to 10 years in US. and India also it's almost the same. But sticking to the core and being consistent with the approach is something which is very, very important.
Amar, so you guys have started, e-commerce first. Now, of course, I see, most of the brands going omni-channel. Retail itself has kind of, come up in a very big, in a big time in for most of the brands. So, in the next 3 to 5 years, what is the journey of Neeman's?
So back then when we were starting, as I told you that Neeman's wanted to go online first, and I have not told you that we first, in fact, signed up a store in 2018-19, and we said that we will open a store and we will start opening stores and we will reach out to consumers. But soon after we signed up, we backed out of our decisions that retail is something which will take a long time to create a brand, because we need to have hundreds of stores to create a brand, and plus how will you voice out that piece. So we have done that piece now, being online, and created a lot of traction, lot of credibility. So we said that shoes is, though it is bought online as well now, but it is still at the traditional way. It is, people are going to retail, they go to malls, they are stuck in the traffic, so the only way they can shop around is they go to malls and check around different footwear brands. So we said that we should be offline and we should get into the best of malls within the country. So in just last 1 year we have opened 12 stores, wherein we have opened in Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad, and these three cities we have ensured that we have as much presence as possible, and we have got a lot of credibility and traction around it, because people who have been seeing online, in fact all the D2C brands have now focused on building it online, from online to offline. So people started recognizing us. Oh, I have seen these ads on Facebook. Oh, I really love what they do. Oh, they're now available here. So that is something, is the next set of growth of journey for us, growth which we will focus upon, that we should be available everywhere. Now we are also on Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, and we are also available in different malls within the country and also high streets. So for us, the next set will be that we open out as many retail outlets in the next 2 to 3 years and reach out to everybody having an option of trying out our footwear and then buying it. So you'll get to see more of our stores in Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad,
But
Pune.
are you getting into tier 2, tier 3 also?
Sooner or later, in the next 2 years, the idea is that we open up 100 stores. We reach out to all the smaller cities of like Nagpur, Nasik, Guwahati, Kanpur, and Lucknow, and Vizag. So Indore, all of these cities have a lot of buying consumer behavior has changed. So I think we have a lot of traction there, because we look at pin codes where we are doing well, and all these places has built good amount of traction. So you'll get to see just not the tier 1, the Hyderabad, Mumbai's and Bangalore and Delhi's of the world. You will also see people, Neeman store in Bhopal, Neeman store in Indore, Neeman store in Patna, Lucknow. So these cities also have done fairly well for us. So you'll get to see us there as well.
So while we were coming for the podcast shoot, we just bought one piece of electronic, from Blinkit, which was not, there at home, and we needed, to transfer data. So can we soon buy shoes also from Blinkit, Zeptos, etc.? Is that a journey that is going to, happen very soon for consumers?
In fact, India as a market is completely getting evolved. I believe that quick commerce will be the next big thing within India, and every brand will face that challenge of selling across e-commerce, and quick commerce will something which will dominate the fraternity. And we're also getting, just to add here, we are coming on Zepto and Blinkit now. Shoes and will also be bought online and will be delivered in 10 minutes.
Wow.
So we are actually doing a pilot with Zepto and Blinkit in the next few weeks, with cities in Bangalore and Gurugram, so that they can check the traction. So soon I believe that by the end of this year it will be across all the platforms of quick commerce and serving all the cities, where we'll be delivering your shoes within 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
आप लोग कभी शार्क टैंक क्यों नहीं गए?
काफ़ी फ्रेंड्स फैमिली हमें बोलते हैं कि आप शार्क टैंक चले जाते तो अच्छा था, आप भी फंडिंग वहाँ से ले लेते तो अच्छा था. हमने बोला कि हम शार्क टैंक क्यों जाएं, बिकॉज हमने ऑलरेडी सफिशिएंट अमाउंट ऑफ कैपिटल उठा लिया है. वी आर बैक विद वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट VC फंड्स लाइक सिक्स सेंस वेंचर्स एंड इनाम वेंचर्स एंड एनिकेट वेंचर्स एंड ऑल्सो शार्प वेंचर्स. सो ऑल ऑफ द big VCs and big family offices are on our cap table, so why do we need funding? So, like the era has completely changed now. People say that go to Shark Tank, it'll get you a lot of visibility and marketing. So then the season 3, you see that a lot of companies have approached Shark Tank and said they don't need capital now, but they have almost closed the round. But if something is possible, it'll be really helping up. So that marketing dollars is really impactful, but we chose otherwise. We said that we don't want to be in Shark Tank. Reason is because we have already had a serious amount of capital. So that is something which will dilute our brand at the moment. So we have chosen to go against it.
So अगर एक कोई founder को decide करना है whether to go for Shark Tank or not, so why should he choose to go to Shark Tank?
Again, there are 3 reasons why somebody should go to Shark Tank. I would always recommend कि Shark Tank जाइए. It's a great platform and it will give you a lot of visibility. I think it will give you a visibility of almost 10 to 12 crores of marketing. So that is something which nobody should avoid. Second, it is always good for early stage entrepreneurs or somebody who's created a journey of 0 to 1 crores, needs to scale further, needs support, professional support from the same ecosystem. I think Aman, Vinita, Piyush, all are great guys and they should definitely go there. So somebody who's scaling up should go to Shark Tank. One biggest drawback what I notice in Shark Tank is people give out equity very easily. And they give out 10, 15, 20, 30% of equity. I say that keep the equity close to your chest. Preserve as much equity as possible because investors do look at your equity in the company, your skin in the game. And if you want to raise further round to scale the company to a fairly large company, you need to have equity and you need to have vested interest. So go there in terms of getting as much traction, plus also look at getting support from the people from the ecosystem who have already created a large amount of brand. So I think that will help them. But do not dilute yourself too much.
So if Shark Tank would have come maybe in 2017-18, would you guys have chosen the other route and gone on Shark Tank?
Yeah, we would have jumped the opportunity of going to Shark Tank. We have grown up seeing the US Shark Tank. It would have been, in fact, we could have somehow chased them down in terms of talking about our brand. And if 2018, 19, or maybe in early 2020, if Shark Tank would have been there, we would have jumped on that opportunity because we were desperate for capital. As I told you that we had every time only a month of capital to pay out salaries and our bills. So that was, I think, would have been a great opportunity that time.
Oh, very interesting. All the best for this journey.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
I'll keep trying each of your product as your loyal customer.
Thank you. Please share your valuable feedback always. Thank you.